Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hope Pedraza, and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, welcome back to the show. I am giving you a super quick tutorial on cycle syncing today. And this is a training that I did a while back. And I've done an episode here on the podcast where I've gone deep into cycle syncing, what happens in each cycle, what it means for your productivity. But this is really just a bite-sized version of that breaks down the big four parts of your cycle and how this can change everything in your business. If you run a business, if you have a team, if you are in the corporate world, if you have a career, this is really going to be so beneficial for you. And even if you don't, you can totally still get something out of this. But it's really going to speak to those of you who have a business or career that requires you to have some level of creativity and productivity. And this is really how you build a soul and body-led business that's sustainable for you and really allows you to drive your mission forward to the masses, to the collective, without draining your energy, wearing out your body, wearing out your soul, and just running yourself into the ground. So this is a really quick tutorial to break it down for you in a simple and implementable way. So let's jump in. Okay, let's dive into a quick cycle syncing tutorial. Now, if you really want to go in depth on this, I have a super in-depth podcast episode where I go deeper into all of this. And there's much more information, much more nuance to this. But when we're talking about cycle syncing, it is exactly what it sounds. Essentially, you are lining up your productivity, your creativity to your business. So, if you know me at all, if you don't, hello, welcome. If you know me at all, you know I'm all about wellness. And with that comes multiple layers. There's so many layers in that. I'm working the body holistically. So that means we're looking at the physical side, the spiritual side, the energetic side, the mental side, like mental health, emotional health, all the things, right? And how can we optimize wellness? How can we optimize energy? And that's physical energy, emotional energy, all of that. The cycle syncing is a crucial part of this when I'm working with women. And yes, if you are listening to this or watching this and you don't have a cycle, it can still apply to you. Obviously, if you don't have a period, then you're not going to line it up to your period. But as I talk about in the podcast episode, again, where I go much deeper, I talk about how you can line it up to the moon cycle. So if you don't have a period, I'm just going to tell you, if you want to comment below podcast, I can send you the podcast episode to listen. And that's going to be more beneficial to you. But if you're listening here and you have a period, this is for you. So I just want to go through a very quick tutorial of how you can start implementing this now. If you're somebody where you're like, I don't have time to read all the things about cycle syncing. I don't really want to know all the ins and outs. I just want to know, how can I maximize my productivity in my business to my cycle? That's what I'm talking about today. So I'm going to go through this quickly. So there are four main parts of your cycle. And that's the first thing to know. So I would say, let me make a disclaimer here. The first and foremost, before you ever start implementing this into your business or your life or your career, whatever, understand your freaking cycle. And I say that because so many women do not understand their cycle. So that's first and foremost. So know, when does your period start, right? When does your the actual menstruation part start? How long does it last? When are you ovulating? How long is your luteal cycle? We can track these things, right? So first and foremost is getting to know your body, getting to know your cycle, your period. Second of all, there's four main parts that I'm going to talk about, and that's how we're going to line up these areas of productivity in your business. So first, the first day of your cycle is the first day of bleeding, right? So that's the menstruation part. The menstruation part is the actual bleeding, okay? During this phase, and if you're familiar with your body, then during this phase, you're typically pretty tired, right? Your energy is your hormones are at their lowest, so your energy is at their lowest. You might feel a little foggy. Like for me, in terms of creative brain, I feel like there's a static or a fog, right? It's just I can't sort through the fog and the static. So this is not the time of your cycle to start these really creative projects, right? This is not the time to work on creativity. In this part of your cycle during menstruation, when your physical energy is low, your mental energy is low, your creative brain is kind of turned offline for a little bit, this is the time to tune inward. This is the time to tune in. I just did a podcast episode on another gal's podcast not too long ago, and we talked about this.
Because I feel like we spend the majority of our lives as women hating our period. Like we dread it, we hate it, we feel like trash. We a lot of times don't even really understand what's happening. And if your body is kind of all out of balance, you also it's unpredictable. Like I don't know when it's coming. I don't know, maybe it's coming, right? We have so many feelings about our period, and I just think a lot of it is because A, we don't understand it, we were never taught. And B, because so many other parts of our body are a little bit out of balance, it can throw that part out of balance. And so it's like we have this resentment against it because we're like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's a toss up, right? Am I going to feel like trash this month? I'm going to feel like I'm going to die, or is it going to be okay? So when we're looking at this part, the actual menstruation part, which is usually the part we're like, oh my God, right? This part, it can be your superpower because the right and left sides of your hemispheres of your brain work more closely together. They are firing harder. I don't want to say harder. They're working more closely together during this part of your cycle. Meaning it's kind of like someone who is blind or hard of hearing or deaf, right? They have other senses kind of take over. It's kind of like that. Like our hormones are at their lowest. So the right and left sides hemispheres of our brain are communicating more clearly. So this is the time to go inward. We have these intuitive downloads, like we have these intuitive things drop into us. We can do the deep work, we can dream, and we can write our goals and hone in on all of this inner work. This is the time to go inward. It's the time to slow down. It's a time to let the creative stuff, just kind of put that on the back burner for a few days, right? This is the time to do the inner work, the journaling, the goal setting, the dreaming, the making space for silence and stillness to let the intuitive downloads come in. And I said this in my stories this week, actually. I did a story this week about this. I have gotten some of the best and per this week, craziest intuitive downloads ever when it's that part of my cycle. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to let this creative stuff sit here for a while and I'll get back to it when my brain comes back online. And I'm telling you, so this is the part to hone in on the inner work, the intuitive stuff, all of that. When we move on to this part of our cycle, we're getting to the later follicular phase, right? So our hormones are kind of, on the upswing. Start to feel the physical energy come back into the body. This is when, okay, I'm feeling more energized. My creative brain is kind of like coming back online, like the static is clearing. So now we can start those creative things. So we're feeling more energized to get things done, the creative things. We feel more energized to be around people. Maybe you kind of go reclusive a little bit during your menstruation phase, which is also totally fine. And so the later part of your follicular phase is bringing you into ovulation. These two phases really overlap for me, and it's kind of similar in terms of productivity and creativity because our hormones are on the upswing. Obviously, ovulation is a one-day event. So it's kind of like bringing us into that ovulation phase, that one-day event when your hormones are at their peak. So as our hormones are coming up to that peak place, we're going to feel more social. We're going to feel more outgoing, right? This is the time to do the networking thing, the sales calls, the interviews, the collaborating with people on social media or whatever, getting your face out there, going live on camera. This is the time of your cycle to do these things because you feel more confident, you feel more energetic, you feel more alive, right? So this is the time to do these things. The creative things that you kind of put on the back burner during your menstruation phase. This is when you bring those to life. Let's do all the creative things now, right? All your creative ideas, let's get those out, get these on paper. A lot of times I have a lot of my clients who this is when, if you're somebody who likes to batch content, not saying you have to or you should or anything, but if you're somebody that likes doing that, this is the perfect time to do that. Take this part of your cycle, hammer out the content. If that's something you like to do, this is the time to do it. Your creative stuff is flying, so just get it out. We move from the later follicular phase after ovulation. After that comes your luteal phase, right? Your luteal phase is bringing you back into the menstruation phase. So as you get into the luteal phase, you're going to notice a few things. You're going to notice maybe your creative energy might lag a little bit. It's not going to be the same as a menstruation phase, but it's lagging a little bit. But the thing you're really going to notice is because of this shift in the hormones here, your progesterone is shifting, your estrogen is going the opposite direction, that you're going to feel your emotions are heightened, right? You notice that this is the part of your phase where I've called it before in a podcast episode, your inner gremlin comes out and it's you're really triggered by things. And we could see this as okay, I turn into a total gremlin during this part of my cycle and I just need to steer clear of everybody. Or we could see this as, okay, my inner BS meter, one of my mentors calls it that, and I like to bring that in. My inner BS meter is like at its peak, it's heightened during this part. So this is the part of my phase where, because my BS meter is like on high alert, I can really dial in on what is serving me and what's no longer serving me, right? This is the time. And I find, honestly, I find probably each and every month during this part of my cycle, I can find at least 3 things where I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore, or like, hey, I'm going to delegate these things, or like, why did I start doing this to begin with? It's every month. I tell you things, this is a great time to do these things. So your inner BS meter is the thing that's telling you like, this is dumb. Why are you doing this? Like, it's going to go off and it's going to be loud. Now, your inner critic, if you want to call it that, it can be loud. It can be super judgmental. So give yourself some compassion during this time. Try not to hold on to like the judgy things that are coming out when you're in this phase, like coming out about yourself, but use it to your advantage. So in the podcast episode I mentioned, I relate all of these parts of your cycle to seasons. And this particular phase is your fall or your autumn, whatever you like to call that season. And so if you think about actual fall, I'm looking outside because there's trees out here. If you think about fall, it like literally the leaves are shedding, right? The plants, the leaves are shedding. It's like getting ready to like, everything's getting ready to kind of hibernate before it comes back out into the spring. So leaves are shedding. We're letting go of things that no longer serve us. Like, keep that image in your head going through this part of your cycle. And you can really, when you get back to that like heightened energetic state of your cycle, you're going to really be able to optimize what's going on. The other thing to hone in on this part of your cycle, if we're saving most of our creative things, hold on, I want to say a disclaimer here. I also want to say that like, there are going to be times in your cycle where you have to get things done, right? And it's like not your whole entire world sometimes you're not able to make it revolve around your cycle. So I just want to say that too. Sometimes you're into your phase and you're like, I really have to get this creative stuff out now. So just want to say that. But when you're in your luteal phase, so if we're saving our big creative things during the late follicular going into ovulation, your luteal phase, this is the time where you're like, get stuff done. So this is the time where this is the perfect time of the month to do all your admin things, like the things that are just basically like checking things off the to-do list, right? Admin things, the boring things that you really don't like to do. And for me, this is what when I'm working with my clients with cycle syncing, why are you wasting your creative energy during that part of your follicular and ovulation phase? Why are you wasting that doing these admin things and checking things off your to-do list instead of harnessing their creative energy that's like bursting to come out of you? Save those admin things for that part of the month. So for me, it's like, doing stuff on QuickBooks and spreadsheets and tracking all these things. Like, can we save those to that part of the month and do those admin tasks then? Quick, easy check off the box things. That's a perfect time in the month to do that. Right? So that's your luteal phase. And then it starts all over going back to menstruation. So those are the 4 main phases. And that was a super quick tutorial. But if you can hone in on that piece, the menstruation phase, I'm going to recap here. The menstruation phase, this is the deep inner work. This is the going inward. This is the goal setting. Maybe it's reflecting on what's worked and what hasn't worked this month. Maybe it's dreaming about what's next. Taking space for silence and mindfulness to go in and let the intuitive downloads drop in. Moving on into your later follicular into ovulation, these 2 parts, I kind of combine these together for this part, bringing in more creative energy, more like social, put yourself out there energy, go live on Instagram, go live on Facebook, put your face on your camera, go do your networking, go do your podcast interviews, like put yourself out there while you're feeling confident and social and all of those things. And then moving into your luteal phase. We're saving this part for the more like check off the box admin tasks that doesn't require a whole lot of creative brain work, right? You're letting your inner BS meter go wild and let you know like what's no longer serving me, what can I let go of, what can I delegate, what am I wasting my energy on each month, right? Just this was so quick and so strategic right here. Tactical things you can put into action. If you only know these parts, if you don't go any more in depth about your cycle, into your cycle than this stuff, this could change everything for you. This will help you optimize your energy so well throughout the month. Release you from so much frustration and resistance that you might be feeling trying to do things on part of your cycle where your hormones are like, no girl, I got nothing for you, right? You are going to maximize your energy, your creative energy, your productivity, your efficiency so much just honing in on those few things. So I hope this was helpful. I would love to know your thoughts on this. So share, let me know on Instagram, send me a message. I'd love to know. And thanks for the thumbs up. That's me doing that. And let me know your takeaways and how this works for you. And I will see y'all next time.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I'd love to know what you find useful in these episodes so I can know how to provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics you'd like to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's @TheHopePedraza, or you can visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.